but you're a beginner and you're already doing it. So imagine the progress you're going to be making in the long term because you already have this kind of mental processes figured out. You are leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of us. Hey everyone, it's Dalton with Spot Fitness, where we lower the barriers for you to begin and continue exercising. Before we get on with the video, make sure you check out spot-fitness.com for any fitness apparel or equipment or accessories that you might need. And most importantly, where 50% of all net profits are donated to exercise science research and education. So this video is a continuation of our previous one, where previously we laid the foundation for a very scary yet prevalent topic that inevitably afflicts us all when we begin and sometimes continue going to the gym, and that is gym anxiety or gymtimidation. And what we covered in the previous video is that really with gym anxiety, but just anxiety generically, the greatest way to overcome it is simply exposure. Because as we know, anxiety is the neurotic feelings associated with something that is imminent. You know, you're going to a new school, or maybe you're starting a new job, or you're going to the gym for the first time. It's just kind of this inevitable thing that is ultimately going to become reality. We don't know how it's going to go. So the best way to overcome the anxiety associated with these events is simply by being exposed to it again and again and again. Now, while exposure therapy is the greatest way to overcoming any kind of anxiety, that does not mean that is the only way to deal with gymtimidation. What I'm going to lay out in this video is something that I believe can be just as effective, just as important as exposure, and that is having a plan when you go to the gym. Plans in general for anxiety are a great way to alleviate it. If you remember in the previous video, I talked about how nerve-wracking it was for me my first day of middle school. They took all 3 elementary schools that the kids were going to and they shoved us into the middle school, so it was just this confluence of events. I was meeting new people, I was having new teachers, I had to figure out where all the new classrooms were. It's a very nerve-wracking experience for not just myself, but everybody, I'm sure, that first day of school. And while being exposed to it on a routine basis eventually allowed me to overcome that anxiety, a part of that exposure, a part of relieving that anxiety that accompanied exposure, is the plan that is associated with school. See, you aren't super anxious about going to school because you know more or less what every day is going to look like. You know, you show up at maybe 7:45, you go to your locker, classes start at 8, you have math class first, then you have social studies, then you might have history, and then you have economics, then it's time to go to lunch, you play basketball at lunch, you sit with the same people, then you have, I don't know, PE in the afternoon, and then it's about time to leave. It's say 2 or 3 o'clock, and more or less every day looks exactly just like that. What they do with school, built upon the repetition of it every day, is just having a monotonous routine plan. Every day when you walk through the doors, you know what to expect. And this same logic applies when you go to the gym. For any of us regular gym goers, if you're watching, which I hope a lot of you are, we can typically spot somebody who is new to the gym and doesn't have a plan immediately. Like as soon as they swipe their card and they walk in, they have these like kind of wandering eyes. They're looking back and forth at all the equipment, the free weights, what other people are doing. They're kind of passively walking around to the different machines. They'll do like one set of flies, and then they'll go over to like the leg press and do one set of leg press. None of it is ever done with like a level of intensity that you would expect any kind of hypertrophic or strength gains to actually be taken away from it. They're just kind of like going through the motions, and again, the whole time looking at other people, likely worried about what people are thinking of them. But what these people need, and I would argue is nearly essential to being effective and making progress in the gym, is a plan, some kind of training log that you sat down prior to going to the gym and had some dedicated thought about what you are going to perform, the specific exercise, how many sets of those exercises, and how many reps within those sets, within those exercises you are going to perform on that day. Let's go through an example. And this is an actual workout that you could do. There is no shortage of workouts that you can do as a beginner. Pretty much all of them are going to be effective just because you have all those untapped newbie gains that us like intermediates and more experienced lifters are entirely jealous of. But you can actually go to the gym and do this workout if you want, or you can do whatever it is that your heart desires. That's the beauty of going to the gym. It's the canvas, you get to paint it. But for this scenario, let's assume you're a brand new beginner. It's like your first time in the gym and you're entirely alone. You don't have a personal trainer. You have no experienced buddy to work out with. You are just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and therefore likely a little bit nervous about going into the gym for the first time, but by golly, you're gonna freaking do it. But before you went to the gym, you sat down and you thought about, okay, what is it that I want to accomplish? What am I trying to get out of these individual gym sessions that I have? Well, you did some research and you think, well, I want to be stronger, a little bit more athletic, and I want bigger muscles. I want to reap some of those hypertrophy benefits that I can get from exercise. All great things that all of us are and should be striving for. But you're busy. You can only work out 3 days a week, sometimes only 2, which is totally fine, by the way. You can make a ton of strength and hypertrophy gains only going to the gym 2 or 3 days a week. Don't let anybody tell you that you need to go more than that. So, like I said, before we got to the gym, we sat down and had some dedicated thought about what we were going to be doing. Whether it was with pen and paper or an app that you downloaded, you know the exercises, the sets, and reps that you're going to be doing. And through this meditation and thought, you determine that we're going to be doing 3 sets of 8 on 3 different exercises. We're doing the overhead press, so we're activating the anterior delts and the triceps, so really great upper body movement, and it's activating your core for stabilization. You're going to be doing the high bar barbell squat. You're going to get those quads activated, big, nice, thick, juicy glutes. Who doesn't want that? Nice big butt. And then finally, we're going to cap it off with some barbell rows. You want that freaking thick, wide back so you can't even fit through the gym door on your way out. All desirable things and a great workout. It's simple yet effective. 3 sets of 8 on 3 compound barbell movements. It doesn't get any simpler than that. We're going to go to the gym and we're going to kill it. But before we start, because you are somebody who is a forward thinker and you knew that you didn't want to just wander aimlessly through these exercises, having never either A, experienced them before, or B, had dedicated thought on how to perform them, you went on YouTube or you went on some articles and you thought, okay, I'm going to get some mental repetitions and actually performing these 3 movements. So you found a good YouTube channel, maybe like Alan Thrall or Jeff Nippard, or you went on 3D Muscle Journey's lifting library and you looked up the overhead press and how to effectively perform it. You know that you want to pinch your glutes together to maintain a neutral lumbar spine while simultaneously pushing your head through at the top of the movement when performing the overhead press. You know that for high bar barbell squats, you want to travel with the bar in a vertical line, completely straight up and down and always over the midfoot, while keeping a big chest and good posture throughout the entire squat. And then lastly, for barbell rows, you shouldn't just be shaking around with loose, flimsy arms. You want to get really tight at the bottom. You want to pull the slack out of the bar by engaging your lats and pushing your armpits down into your back pockets. These are some great cues that you picked up, whether it be on YouTube or some kind of article you read, and it's going to alleviate even further amounts of anxiety by not knowing how to perform these movements. You've already thought about it. You know where they're located in the gym, where the barbells are, or where the squat rack is. You're going to be able to walk right up to it and do these really effective movements for effective sets and for effective reps with great technique because you had a dedicated and organized plan, which, by golly, if you can walk into the gym with this plan, with these cues, with these exercises, you're freaking killing it, man. Don't let anybody else tell you that you're not. But eventually, and this is probably a video for another day, you might tap out kind of the newbie gains that you can have on these 3 exercises. But again, topic for another day, and there's a lot of great YouTube channels for long-term, like periodization and progression schemes. The Noble Natties are some of my favorites. YouTube channels like Basement Bodybuilding.
All right, what's up, everybody?
Natural Hypertrophy.
Hello, YouTube.
The GOAT, Alex Leonidas, Alpha Destiny.
We're witnessing a rise in strong natural athletes who have been dedicated to this game for 10 years, showing remarkable progress.
Go check out their YouTube channels if you want to know anything about programming, progression schemes. All of them are great options. And as a side note, I don't think this plan that you have necessarily has to be only within the gym. I think you can make it as granular as you want. You can make a checklist just like you would on a busy day when you need to mow the lawn or walk the dog or hang out with your wife or eat healthy foods. You can make a checklist surrounding the gym. You know, it could be something like wake up on time. Check. Pack your gym bag the night before you gotta go. Check. Stop by a gas station and get your favorite energy drink, something that's gonna pump you up, or your favorite coffee place. Check. All of these things, while not necessarily critical to actually performing in the gym, are just good ways to build momentum on a daily basis or every other day basis, however regularly you are going to the gym. It can just be, I don't even want to say silly little things, because it's little things like this, I said, that create momentum, kind of that snowball effect of, you know, you have your process down, you have your gym bag packed, you're waking up on time. It's the small things, these small little victories that accumulate in the long term that ultimately allow you to make progress in the gym. Going to the gym isn't necessarily just walking through the doors and exercising. There's some dedicated thought, routines, and rituals that have to be performed outside of the gym in order to maximize what you're doing on the inside. All the while doing these mental reps and performing these checklists that allow you to get to the gym and allow you to kill it in there, alleviating any anxiety that you might have because you have a freaking plan. You are alleviating the imminence that anxiety conjures about these situations that you have to face because you have a plan. And I commend you for it. So many people, not only for the gym, but in life in general, just kind of wander around aimlessly. So if you're sitting down and creating dedicated thought, putting pen to paper or your fingers to an app and knowing what it is you want to do in the gym, man, you're leaps and bounds ahead of people. Not only beginners, but there's people who are intermediates, maybe even advanced people that aren't putting this amount of dedicated thought into their exercises.
So, what do you do for a living?
I lift things up and put them down.
Into the routines, into their strategies. But you're a beginner and you're already doing it. So imagine the progress you're going to be making in the long term because you already have this kind of mental processes figured out. You are leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of us. So hey, just keep this in mind, whether you're new to the gym or you're somebody who is still getting started at the gym, or maybe you're somebody that's been working out for a while, but you still feel like you're wandering around a little bit aimlessly within the gym. And because of that, you have this kind of looming sense of anxiety. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you have these wandering eyes, you're overstimulated by all the various options of equipment and free weights and cardio equipment that really the gym is your oyster. And sometimes you don't want an oyster. You just want, I don't know, like a single crab leg that you can keep breaking and dumping into butter. I don't know what the correct metaphor is for this situation.
Here's, oops, king crab leg.
But nevertheless, make a plan, put it down on pen and paper, download a good app, so when you go to the gym, you know exactly what you're going to be doing. You're not walking around aimlessly, shuffling your feet. It's just not effective. It's going to conjure anxiety within you. And let's just go ahead and alleviate ourselves from that situation by knowing exactly what we're doing and where it is within the gym by having a plan. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Dalton with Spot Fitness. Remember to like and subscribe. Let me know what your plans are in the gym. How do you go about being most effective? Do you have a routine? How do you keep your logs? Do you put down your sets and your reps and your exercises on pen and paper the old-fashioned way? Or do you have like a cool app that you like to use that's timing your sets and maybe gives you like progression schemes and telling you what your 1 rep max is? I would love to hear it down in the comments. Thanks for watching.